Today's Microcosmos Q&A is brought to you by Vograce. Thank you to Vograce for sponsoring us. If you don't know what Vograce is a site where you can get your art made into merchandise. Even if you aren't running an online store, Vograce is an amazing option to make your charms, lanyards, etc. Because their minimum quantity order is just one. We've used Vograce for all of our keychains. If you register today, you get to claim a $5 newcomer coupon. And you can find these guys in our online store. Just look at them sparkle and move. Here's the Vograce website to see how easy it is to get an acrylic keychain made. All of the options of different types of keychains. We have a shaker keychain, and many different types of acrylic to make your keychain with. Clicking on the keychain, we can see that there's a lot of options for different clasps, the colors of the clasps. You can have a double-sided keychain or just have the same drawing on both sides. Thank you so much again to Vograce for sponsoring us. Enjoy the Q&A. Hi, I'm Rita. I'm the studio director at Wishbone Animation, and I'm here with
Shay and Sage.
And we're here to answer your questions about Microcosmos. So our first question is about the role of microorganisms and bacteria in the world of Microcosmos, well, since it's Microcosmos.
Yeah. Well, in the story of Microcosmos, they do end up sometimes being slightly bigger, sometimes the same size, or maybe even smaller than those specifically mentioned bacteria and viruses. So it really just depends which size they are in relation to them. They could be like bugs to them, or they could be significantly threatening if they're really big. But if you're wondering how much they would show up, I guess it just depends how wacky we want to get with it at any given time.
I feel like it could be like a Magic School Bus episode.
Yeah, sort of like that. Yeah, I imagine that usually we'd have them be either the same size or bigger, depending on the vibe we would want to go for any given story we're telling. But if they were the same size, I think it would be fun for them to be able to sentiently interact with them to some degree. And if they were larger than them, I think it would be interesting if they were being hunted down by viruses.
Yeah, that would be really fun.
The wizard gets devoured by COVID-19.
Do the Medic and Archaeologist get back together?
I don't know how to answer. No comment, but you'll see.
What will the general tone of the show be? Will it be more goofy or silly, or more serious and dramatic?
I definitely think more goofy and silly for the most part. I think it'd be fun for us to explore some more personal topics for the characters eventually, but for the most part, this is an adventure show, so wouldn't be like all jokes, but I think the tone is generally lighthearted. Will there be more merch for Microcosmos if it doesn't win the vote?
That's a really good question. I think it really depends on the demand for it. I think it also depends on, I personally would really love to do comics of the other projects that don't get selected. And I think through that, depending on how well those do, we'll still make merch of your Blorbos.
So the next question is, does the crew change size at all, or do they just stay the same?
Yeah, I think the plot of the show is that they're changing size, I would say each episode, though I think for the sake of the plot, they don't have a lot of control over exactly what size they are. So they can change size, they just can't choose what that size is.
Right.
What was the writing process like? Has the story evolved over time?
Yeah, the story of Microcosmos has definitely evolved a lot since its pitch. This one and Mirage both had pretty vague stories going into it. So as we designed the characters and stuff, we sort of came up with ideas for what we'd like those characters to go through and what we want their stories to look like. But for the most part, this one is pretty episode by episode.
Yeah.
But it's definitely evolved. We we have a better idea of the characters, which the characters are really the core of the story with this one.
So our next question is, what are our protagonists' roles in the mission?
It's in their names.
But I also think this question is more of like, what is their mission?
So the goal of the mission, excluding the wizard, is that they're doing archaeological research and collecting artifacts. The wizard doesn't really have a role.
The wizard's mission is to...
The wizard doesn't necessarily have a role, but for the other characters, their roles in the mission are clearly specified in what their titles are. So the medic is there for medical support, the captain is there to lead everybody. The archaeologist is, I guess, the main scientist of the group because he's the one doing the majority of the research and data collecting and just generally knows the most about any given place that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
So his knowledge really comes in handy even when they're in situations that they've never been in before.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the engineer is the engineer. So they take care of the ship. That's so mean. No, I feel like the engineer's job is arguably the most important next to the captain's because they wouldn't really have a ship without the engineer. So their role is actually super important, but they take care of the ship and basically keep everyone alive, and the medic also keeps everyone alive, and the other two sort of lead the rest of the team, and the wizard, if anything, his role is he creates more problems.
I was gonna say the wizard's role in all of this is
His
to
role
kind
is-
of undo.
He gives everyone else
More
work.
work.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
The next question is, which character has the biggest family?
I feel. Oh yeah.
I headcanon. I feel like this could go in many directions where it's like, who do we choose to be the only child? Where I think the wizard would be an only child.
Oh.
Therefore,
yeah.
in contrast, the captain would be from a family with many kids.
I think the captain's definitely from the biggest like family like closeness wise like
Mhm.
like she knows all her siblings and they're really close, and
Mhm.
she might even be like I don't think she's probably the oldest sibling, but I think that she's not on the younger end. Like if there's
Mhm.
like a handful of them, I think she's like a little closer to being on the
Yeah.
older side. But characters who have the actual largest family, I think would have to be the engineer
I was gonna say
because they're
Bug.
bug.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
But the thing is, it's sort of like
There's just so many of them that they're not really
Ratatouille
family.
situation. Yeah. Is that how that works?
Yes.
Yeah,
I
there's
was
just so
gonna
many
say-
of them.
I was gonna say the engineer probably has the most family or the most siblings, and maybe they had to eat a couple.
Ooh. Will this show have dialogue, and will it be serialized or episodic? Will it be like a monster of the week type situation? What are you imagining?
Well, I believe all of our shows are intended to have dialogue. That's definitely the goal. But this show specifically, I think it would be very heavy on the dialogue because the characters are sort of the central focus here. I would definitely want it to be more leaning toward Monster of the Week type thing, just since the nature of the plot being different every episode sort of really lends itself to that. But I do think it would be fun to have some sort of overarching character arcs. I personally really like in shows where I personally really enjoy shows where it is pretty episodic, but they keep some continuity with the characters and develop the characters over time. And
Yes.
I like when that eventually turns into it being a larger plot.
Our next question is, what are your favorite dynamics in the cast?
Oh.
Let's go in a row.
I gotta think. Like, I think anyone with the wizard is awesome. 'Cause like I feel like they all kind of really don't like the wizard, but I feel like I think it was the engineer and the wizard that you said that would really like each other, or they would like at
Yeah.
least get along the most. And
I think, yeah, they'd get along better.
yeah, because usually like when I think of Microcosmos pairings or dynamics, I think of like, oh, archaeologist and medic, or captain and engineer, because they're all kind of lumped together. But kind of mixing it up, because like what the fuck would like the medic and like and the captain like get up to? What the hell would they talk about? The medic would be like, my back hurts. And, like,
Your unk.
yeah, and guys would be like,
No, I think that they're honestly the most. No, I was gonna say they're the most normal out of the.
Oh yeah,
no.
no.
But I think that would have to be the archaeologist and the captain. Like those two are pretty normal.
Yeah.
But
coworkers that just talk about work and like nothing else, or like coworkers that talk about that one other coworker. It's like Seinfeld, where like
I think they would queen out.
Yeah, exactly. Where like Elaine and George get together and they kind of don't know what to talk about except for Jerry. And I feel like that would be the captain and the archaeologist just talking about.
Oh, I was saying I think the captain and the medic would queen out.
Oh yes, the captain and the
so
medic
too.
would absolutely queen out. Yes, you're right. Ugh.
Wait, so did you have a favorite dynamic?
Oh yeah, my favorite dynamic is the wizard and the engineer, because I feel like the engineer is so vital and important, but also really overlooked in terms of importance when it comes to the crew, because usually everyone just looks to the captain or the archaeologist, and the wizard is seen as like this like great burden on the crew, you know. And I feel like, I don't know, I think they'd find some solace in each other for like kind of like being ignored, or like I also just think they'd be really funny together.
Yeah.
I
Like
mean,
the pranksters.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that like nobody else on the crew. I think the rest of the crew would probably like not. There'd be large periods of time where the rest of the crew is like actively not paying attention to them because they're
Yes.
actually doing their jobs, and those two are just like
Yes.
off doing some bullshit.
Exactly. Off doing some bullshit.
I'm really tied between the archaeologist and the medic, and the captain and the engineer. I think they're both really cute pairings, and I think they could be up to really fun. Like, for me personally, I'm like kicking my feet thinking about how emo the engineer, how emo the medic is about the archaeologist, because it's like, oh, we broke up, but you're still here, and like I hate you, but like I kind of don't. I think that's really
that
funny.
dynamic is funny.
It's really
'cause
good.
I don't think that the archaeologist is like too bothered about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
Oh my god.
the medic is bothered about it. Yeah.
So the next question is, how many times do you think they get into typical roommate fights?
I think very frequently.
Yeah.
Yes. Are you
I
kidding
think it just
me?
depends. Like some of them probably aren't getting into roommate fights with one another because they're normal with one another, but I think that depending on the dynamic, it's pretty often.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I really liked when we were talking about potential ideas of what was happening inside the ship, of
Yeah.
like the engineer leaving an engine in the sink or something like that.
Or like the medic leaving like a homunculus or something like crazy.
What is he doing in his life?
And like maybe like I'm trying to think, like the captain goes out to get coffee and she's like, oh my god, like she's like horrified or something.
Yeah, I think that some of them are messier than others, so that
Yeah.
definitely creates issues. What other typical roommate fights exist? I mean, it's like messiness.
I feel like
think
noise
it's
could also be one. Like the engineer would listen to
I
very
think-
loud music.
I think
like
what we're
you're
getting.
fucking-
I think the
yeah.
point where we keep coming back to is that the engineer would be like at the epicenter of all of these problems. Basically, they suck as a roommate. I think the engineer is the worst roommate, probably.
I
Yeah.
think so too. They probably smell like oil and like
yeah, they stink. They're messy. They're loud.
Yeah.
They're obnoxious.
They leave a mess
They
in the
break
shower.
into
Yeah.
other people's rooms probably.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, they don't knock.
Yeah, they don't. They leave their shit everywhere.
Or they're like in the walls.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Like that'd be really funny if like they like listen in on conversations, like, or like they listen in on like drama that like the medic and archaeologists are having. So like maybe the archaeologist maybe one day could be like venting to the engineer, and they're like, No, yeah, that's terrible.
No, yeah, for sure.
They're like, I heard the medic side, you're wrong.
So our next question is, what is the specific mission of the spaceship in Microcosmos?
So they're going on archaeological research, which is why they have the archaeologist with them, and they're basically given like a location, a vague location, and they're given a description of what they're supposed to collect, and they are supposed to go collect it. And I think for the most part, it's usually pretty seamless, as much as it can be with the team that they're on. But the catalyzing event of the story, they were not expecting to be sent somewhere to collect a artifact that was being
used.
heavily guarded and used.
Right.
So they're sort of like scientists, and this organization that they work for sends them to get this thing that they're like, oh yeah, like you just go collect this thing. They're sort of like, oh yeah, like nobody's using it. Like we're just gonna put it in our museum. Much like
British expedition.
yeah, it's sort of a British expedition type of situation. But they're not. I don't know. I don't think they're actively malicious about it. No, not the
They're just
organization,
doing
the
their
characters.
jobs. Yeah.
They're just
doing their
jobs.
jobs, man.
Yeah, but they aren't expected to. They're not expecting to be sent to go do
robbing.
basically robbing. Yeah, like literally breaking and entering.
So our next question is, what does the main cast miss the most about being home? Or if any of them are from Earth, what do they miss the most about it?
Or the second part to the question was, what does the wizard find fascinating about the culture that they're from?
Right.
Mm-hmm. I think the majority of them are from not Earth. Medic is technically human. He's human. I don't know if he's necessarily like raised on Earth. They're all sort of they all come from a central hub connected to the, I guess, feels like all the sci-fi stories use the same words for everything, like Federation or whatever that they're a part of. The engineers from a separate planet. But what do they miss? I think in this specific situation, they all miss a lot of the same things. Like they miss like normal weather and normal food and things that are not trying to kill them. But
Things that are like not bigger than them.
yeah,
probably.
yes, yeah. But I think the engineer. Well, since I know about the engineer, what they like, they miss their hobbies. I think they have their hobbies on the ship with them. I don't know if they're necessarily supposed to. But I think they miss the like I think that the engineer is probably like the biggest iPad baby type out of all of them. That's like the worst way to put that. But like they're the most, let's say, consumerist of
Right.
them all.
Yeah.
So the engineer misses the ease of consumerism
Yeah.
that they had in the real world, like where they came from. So they're sort of rationing their junk food, snacks, and stuff like that. The archaeologist, I don't think that he misses a lot, because I think that he sort of like lives through this kind of thing. So I think he's pretty content, and I think the captain probably misses her family the most. I think she's the only one who's like super, super close with her family. I think others like care about their family and stuff, but I think she really misses them probably, and that is before they even get into the situation they're in. And then the medic, I think he just misses like peace and quiet. I think he misses having privacy and like some space to himself. Not being, forced to spend time around
Insane people.
People who are driving him crazy. And as for the wizard, I think maybe the thing that he would be the most confused by or the most perplexed by when it comes to the rest of the crew or the world that they come from, I think he's just shocked at how many solutions they have for things that the world that he comes from with magic and stuff have these like really instantaneous fixes for.
Yeah.
Not that he knows how to do those things, but he's used to that ease and convenience. So, he might get injured or something. I know we keep talking about him getting injured.
Put
But-
that boy in a situation.
But he, if he gets injured, he might be like, oh crap, I, broke my arm. Let's go fix it magically. And it's like, well, that's not exactly how that works. I think they probably have like more futuristic technology to fix things faster.
But still slower than magic.
Yeah, I think he's just like,
Yeah.
you guys have something for everything. And in our case, it's just like everything gets, not everything, but they have a lot less doodads.
Yeah.
Our next question is, why did we choose a paper fortune teller instead of like a book or like a jewel? What led us to that decision?
We were all tasked as viz dev artists to try and figure out something for the relic, like something that would be easily something that could change, that something when you interact with it, it changes somewhat. So I was thinking like I remember I think I made a Rubik's Cube or something like that, but I thought it would be way too complicated. And then I think I drew an abacus or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And I think you liked the idea of an
I
abacus.
thought the abacus was fun.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think we kept kind of running our heads into the wall thinking of things that like actually went through some sort of visual
Right.
like distinct transformation.
like when a person
um,
interacts with it or something like that, or like
Yeah, because I kept, you do keep, it is easy to keep coming back to, like, I did keep coming back to, like, oh, well, they could just have a magic book or, like, a
right,
magic thingy
Ball.
mabob that starts glowing.
yeah,
But I feel like personally, as somebody who really enjoys sci-fi and fantasy, I like to see things that are a little bit more outside the box when it comes to that kind of thing. So
yeah.
you had designed some options, and the rest of the, I think it was really just you designing the prop options.
It was,
Um,
yeah.
But then you guys were at In and Out.
Oh no,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
no!
No?
I got In and Out, and then like I think I was talking about like Microcosmos, and I was just like, yeah, I just have to figure out the relic. It's like really frustrating me. And Amy, my girlfriend, like while she was talking, she ripped up like her receipt, and like I looked over, and she made like the tiniest fortune teller. I have to find it. It's like it like fit like just like two of her fingers, or like four, like both of her fingers or something. It was so small, and I was like, how the fuck did you do that? And then I showed it to you.
Yeah,
or,
just
I
like
sent you a photo-
unrelatedly.
completely ununrelated. I was just like, look how
Texted
look,
me a picture of it.
She's so crazy.
And then I think like a
Love
couple.
her.
Yeah. And then I think like it was either, yeah, it might have been when I saw that image. At some point
Yeah.
I started thinking of a fortune teller, and I was like, oh, well, is that sort of silly? And I was like, well, even if it is silly, it's
It fits.
it's more interesting
Right.
than a book.
Yes.
I love a magic book. Don't get
Yeah.
me wrong. A book unfolds and opens, and I sort of liked that element of a book, that it like unfolds and opens, and I liked the idea that you can open this thing, that like there's not just that it
Yeah.
moves and changes, but that there's an aspect to it that opens up.
Mm-hmm.
And the fortune teller has this really distinct opening up where it unfolds layer after layer. And since a huge inspiration for this concept was fractal theory and like infinite universe theory, like universe inside of an atom, those theories and stuff, I thought it would be fitting to pick an object that sort of seems to infinitely open up over and over again. Not that an actual fortune teller does that, but in that opening shot, we sort of attempted to create that visual of like it is a fortune teller, but it's a fortune teller that opens up sort of infinitely.
right.
Yeah.
How many times did I just say the word infinite?
Ooh, this question's really funny. This person asks, why don't the characters have names? And will they have names?
Oh no! My
Who
big fat
fell?
head. Chibarashka.
No.
My big, huge, giant, disgusting head.
It was just not priority number one when we were doing everything else. We sort of
Yes.
had ways to refer to them, like, oh, this is their role on the crew. So like, let's just, I was so focused on just getting the other aspects of the story sort of ironed out and making sure that we, had character turnarounds and
Yeah.
animatic, that I was not super focused on taking any time to create names for them. Although, some ideas came up along the way, but at least personally, when it comes to naming characters, I feel like whenever I actively sit down and I'm like, I'm gonna name this character, I just come up with like the worst stuff
That's not
ever.
true.
No, but like for me, the way that I like to name characters is for more of it to just like come to my mind. So, for example, the engineer does have a name. It's Hammer, which is funny, and I think that the rest of the group doesn't have ridiculous names like that necessarily.
But it
but
makes sense for the engineer.
for them, like that might be like a nickname in my
Oh.
in my head canon, which
Is canon.
my head is canon. I'm imagining my head shaped like a giant cannon.
I also like the prototype name for the captain being Frankie.
Oh yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's really
that's
cute.
cute.
Yeah, I forgot about that. See, I did come up with some name options for them a while ago, and then I forgot all of them because we had gotten so used to calling them by those names. I think that really is just what it is. Is we had gotten really used to calling them by their roles, but were this concept to ever go anywhere further, which, as we've already established, it'd be fun to make comics of all of these ideas eventually. They would have names. I mean, the names are on the way.
Perfect.
I think they should still stay TF2 style.
Yeah,
Meet the
there's
Medic.
something funny to me about it being sort of like TF2, but why I think that works in TF2 because it's a video game.
Yeah, that's true.
Microcosmos video game? No. Our next question is, was there any design inspiration for the ship? It looks like a gourd.
It's actually inspired by a peanut. Sage sent this image. I forget her name, but she makes these really beautiful candles, and I bought one. The image that you sent, it was like a peanut with 3 legs and a beret, and I have it in my house, and I keep forgetting to bring it. It just kind of struck us all as like kind of like the most perfect thing ever.
The perfect shape, honestly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think that the peanut shape has sort of like subconsciously wormed its way into all of our
Backgrounds?
minds.
Yeah.
Because we found the image all the way when we were working on Mirage.
A Mirage, yeah, exactly.
Oh, true. Yeah. I was looking
Yeah.
for objects to put in Mirage's room. And
That peanut.
that peanut.
And we call
That
him
concept.
Monsieur Peanut.
Yeah,
Monsieur
Amy
Peanut.
named him Monsieur Peanut.
My French accent.
Monsieur Peanut.
If you're French, please don't get mad at me.
And then we were coming up with designs for the ship, and I like came up with some like crazy shit that definitely couldn't be animatable. And then
fun, though.
the one that like wound up being the ship design, I was like, I don't care.
the one that ended up being the ship design. You came up with some ship designs. I was like, these are all really cool.
Yeah.
But
It was just so charming.
then in one of your environment paintings,
Yes.
early on,
Yeah.
it was sort of this. It's actually the environment painting.
That
Fun
made
fact,
it.
the only environment painting that actually ended up in the film as a
Yeah.
background,
Yeah.
which was that sort of like water,
the
expanse of
heat.
water
The
with a
two
huge island
mountains,
that's sort
yeah.
of split in two, and then there's a little island closer to the screen. That is the first drawing of the ship, actually, was in that. And we just put the 3D model of the ship on top of it because at that point we'd recolored it and redesigned it a little bit. But
I think there's a Discord message where I'm like, I was like tasked with something with this ship. I was like, oh, did we come up with a design? Like, did we? And they're like, yeah, we're going with your design. We're going with this one. I was like, oh, I was like so shocked. I was like, okay, great.
Was there any specific cells or biology that you were inspired by for the short?
I just really am a big microbiology nerd, and that's been the case for a long time. Fun fact, if I hadn't gone into art, the other thing that I was really interested in was actually biology and science.
Whoa.
So this has been like a long time interest of mine, which funnily enough didn't actually make its way into our conversations around Microcosmos that much because I was picking out images and stuff and like just sort of being like, here's an image. But I was looking up specific terms. So I was, looking at petri dishes. I was looking at large inspirations for me when it comes to microbiology and just biology in general are petri dish cultures, the mycelium of fungi and mold spores and the structures of mold spores and stuff like that. And I'm also really inspired by the imagery taken by the electron microscopes. Yeah, they're basically this type of microscope that I forget how it works exactly, but it takes very, very, very microscopic images of things, usually black and white, or I think they are black and white, and then they can be colored, and it just produces this really, really interesting sort of 3D scan of microscopic objects. So some of the most interesting ones of those to me are electron microscope photos of pollen, like individual pieces of pollen. I think those are really cool. To me, whenever I see those images, I always felt like, I think the reason why it was such a big inspiration is because I always feel like when I'm looking at images of microscopic structures super up close, it feels like I'm looking at something alien. Once you get small enough, it feels like you stop looking at things that are from our world and you start looking at things that are just like completely
Alien to us.
Yeah, completely unknown to us. So really most things, I'm inspired by bacteria and like stuff at that scale, and I'm inspired by things at a much smaller scale like viruses and that sort of thing. They all have just really interesting structures, and it's really fascinating to me how much the geometry changes it goes from very like blobby and organic and eventually goes into this really interesting geometrically structured form before becoming like super, super simple.
This question is from PJ. What games do they like to play in their free time? Well, we've established that the engineer is an iPad baby.
Oh, yes, that's what we were talking about. So the others, maybe they have like some weird sci-fi board games out in the main common areas. I don't know who would play them. I think the captain's sort of the type of person to be like, guys, let's do a team building exercise and play like
Jenga,
Scrabble or something. Yeah, like something like that. I think she likes like board games, and I think she would go crazy on a puzzle. The medic, I don't know if he plays games. He probably plays like chess.
He does not play games.
He does not play games.
That fucker's
I think
so
he
serious.
plays like
He plays
Sudoku
or Go.
I think.
He would play Go.
Oh, I think he'd be really good at spit.
Oh my god!
But like he'd get like really evil about it.
I was gonna say, I feel like he would have at least like one gotcha, or like not gotcha, but like one game where you have to take care of your pet. Like he has the poo game. He would like take excellent care of his poo.
He has like an app. I think if they were on any sort of leaderboard, they would all get like really competitive with one another. Yeah,
we're coming up with an episode right now.
I know. The wizard. What did you say?
Hoop and stick.
I think. Okay, he's not that much of a simpleton.
He would do what's kickboarding? What's the when you
tech?
I so think the engineer would introduce him to tech deck.
Yes, corrupting.
Absolutely. Like I think because the engineer has all those arms, so they're probably really good at it. And
oh my god,
he's probably not that good at it, but I think he like.
He starts trying to magic it.
Yeah.
To cheat.
Maybe the wizard just makes everyone play D&D.
I think the wizard would be great at Taiko no Tatsujin or like rhythm games. He'd be great at DDR. He'd be nuts at DDR.
So good at rhythm games.
Yeah.
But the actual one that we had like an answer for going into this was the engineer, because they actually like snuck a bunch of stuff on board in their little secluded section of the ship or whatever. I'm imagining that they play like first-person shooters on their computer.
Yeah.
Like I'm imagining that they have somehow engineered a way for them to still be playing like online, like MMORPGs. They're on like Second Life. They're playing
Hop on Fortnite.
Shooters.
Hop on Fortnite.
Instead of sending an SOS signal, they're playing MMORPGs.
Yeah, literally. And then like the technology they were using like breaks before they have a chance to actually send like a useful signal, but they're like, oh no, they're like more devastated about the fact that they can't play their like multiplayer mode anymore, or like they can't be in the league anymore or whatever.
Yeah.
They might play League of Legends.
Damn.
I'm cutting that out.
Our last and final question is, who do y'all relate to on the ship and why?
I gotta think about it. I feel like I'm always drawn to the archaeologist. Just cause like he kind of like is very to himself and very much like focused on his work. And maybe I'm drawn to him because I'm like, oh, I wish I could be like that. I wish I could also be aloof and mysterious, but also I like that he's big.
Dude,
I
you're
think
like
you
one of the
are
most
aloof
locked in
and
people.
mysterious.
Oh really?
I will say, your like chill personality was definitely a fraction of inspiration for the engineer.
Really?
Yes.
I love the engineer. I was gonna say that I also really relate to the engineer, because they're always so like spread out, and they're just always getting like smushed by like, especially at the end. I had so much fun boarding the
Torture
engineer,
scene.
yeah, the torture scene with the engineer. But yeah, thank you. Those are the two characters that I'm always drawn to the most, for reasons like outside of me simply enjoying them, like the captain and the wizard and the medic. Like I like them, but with the archaeologist and the engineer in general, I'm like, oh, those are my brothers.
I really relate to the captain. I think when I read her post, like when I read her bio of like, she's been thrown into something that she thought she was prepared for and then learns that she was not, is very accurate to my Wishbone experience, where I was like, I know how to lead a team, I know how to people manage, and I know all of this, and I've done the trainings. I've like, I know there's a fancy team building quiz that you can do that tells you what type of leader you are, and I got to do that at school, and like I know that I'm an empathetic / something else, like keyword buzzwords. Like I knew all the keyword and buzzwords, and then you actually do it, and you're like, ah. So yes,
Yeah.
You kind of are the captain
you're sort
ever.
of
Like,
the, if we are the Microcosmos crew, you are the
you're
captain.
without a
absolutely.
doubt.
With-
Yeah,
yeah,
there's
without a
no
doubt.
one else in this family.
it is
This
a family.
this mafia family.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Wishbone Sopranos. I feel like the character that you guys think I'm like might be like super different from the one that I feel the most like I relate to. I have no idea what you guys might think, but
You're giving me a secret.
I do feel like I really relate to the wizard because he has like the worst imposter syndrome on the face of the earth.
I was thinking that, and I didn't want to say anything. I was like, if he says wizard, I'm gonna like lose my shit.
Yeah, I feel like that seems like a silly answer since that's not me calling myself stupid.
No.
I don't know how to put this. He's just
like you.
He's just like me for real. No, he's just like me. No, I relate to him. I can't really explain exactly why, but I do really, really relate to him. I feel like I put a lot of my feelings into that character. And from just like a gender standpoint, I really, really relate to the engineer. I've seen some people comment like, "Oh, I'm getting gender envy from the bug character," and I'm like, "Yeah, man, exactly, exactly."
That is the point.
But
You both have such like unbridled like and people use this word very loosely, but I mean this very sincerely. You both have a lot of like whimsical. You both have like a whimsical nature.
Oh, wow.
You just looked at me and went like,
That's so nice.
to further my point. And that's why. That's
my
why
eyelashes.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Blink, blink.
Bing, bing.
Hi, thanks for watching. I know I wasn't in that video, but I have some news I have to tell you about, so hang tight for a moment, please. Thank you! Our vote may have ended, but that doesn't mean that we are all out of surprises. Follow us on social media at Wishbone Animation to stay up to date on everything that we may or may not be doing. Check out our Patreon at patreon.com/wishboneanimation or our store at wishboneanimation.com/shop. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for everything else that we have. Bye. There's an airplane above me. There's an airplane. See an airplane? There it is. There's an airplane.